Hey, you know what time it is? It's time for our resident raconteur, Orange County's only storyteller, to join us and share a little bit about his life, the RAAD life, and the wonderful people he runs into, like Chef Pascal is with us again today here, and another guest. And Rod is actually with us. It can't be. Can't be.
Can I get a mic here?
Can he really be on?
He gives me a mic and then he cuts me off. Okay.
I wish I could do
Ladies and gentlemen, this is how the sausage is made in live radio.
That's
you know,
right.
somebody said to me the other day, it's like, why don't you record this stuff and then do stuff? I said, first of all, why the heck would I put that kind of pressure on myself?
Right. It's not as much fun.
Right. Plus, you'd miss out on literally the bloopers. I mean, you don't have to wait till the end of the season to get the bloopers. You get the bloopers every week. Okay? And if we wonder, anybody who's had a show at OC Talk Radio, can you call in and let us know if they get bloopers on their show with Paul Roberts at the helm? Is it the helm when the ship is still sinking? Is it still a helm?
You know, most people show up like a half hour early, though, so we work all this out.
Oh, I mean, or you know.
All right.
Okay, please, anybody in the cellular business, contact Paul Roberts at OC Talk Radio
Explain him how text
and
works.
explain to him how you use a phone so that you receive messages when your host on one of your shows says, "Hey, I'm on my way."
You know, some people use their phone only one way. They don't receive. They just send out.
Yeah, you know what they call those people? Narcissists.
Exactly.
They call it ghosting. Okay.
It's not the case here because it's all about conversation and communication and communities.
Yeah, and you know, you got to work at having some. I'm going to throw at you a new generational term. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, Riz. Do you know what Riz is?
I've heard it. I don't know what it means.
Oh my God!
I have heard
the baby boomer has literally ran the ship into the rocks. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of insight of why we do these little generational things every once in a while. Okay, it's because this show when it first started was Paul Roberts' pitch was, hey, you know, we've been thinking about doing a baby boomer show, and we don't know how to do it, but if you're interested in doing it, you know, we'll do it. And I said, sure, but I'm not a baby boomer.
Right.
I'm a Gen Xer. And he goes, that's never, so we'll call you a baby boomer wannabe, and we'll, you know, basically Irish salesman par excellence, Mr. Paul Roberts sold me on a show. So we
When
started.
was that? Was that a couple days ago?
It was a couple days ago? Oh my God. It's like
years
I've known
ago.
you for all my life, and it's a good thing and it's a bad thing.
You've been talking to my wife again.
Oh yeah, hi. Yeah, you know, she and I have like this intervention thing planned for you, right?
Too much detail.
Too much detail. So we started off. I don't know if you know this, Pascal, but first of all, let's correct one thing. It's not rock on tour anymore.
It's not?
No, it's plural. What's the plural of rock on tour?
Rocky Raccoon. No, I know. Rock and Tour.
Rock and tours.
Rock and Tours, yes.
Yeah, so we're now Rock and Tours because
I love that.
this is no longer a new thing, right? I think we can officially
Well,
say
the mystery
we
is
can officially say we're dating now.
the mystery is whether Brad's going to show up.
Thank you.
Because last week he wasn't here.
Yeah, but isn't that the situation on every date you've been on? Like you don't know if somebody's going to show up
It's
or not.
exciting,
Are
right?
they going to blow you off or are they going to show up? Right?
That's why you want to be between us, you know.
Yeah.
Well, he's always trying to get in between us. Like he's nobody sees his face, you know.
Never.
But you hear him. He's kind of like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. You know? Hello, Angels.
The back of you.
Hello, Rock and Tours. Right, and he's on the back. You feel intimidated a little bit about him being over there?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
See? She's
Yeah.
comfortable.
Good.
She
Good.
does it.
You
Good,
call him
because
Charlie.
we can ask him to leave.
He's great.
Yeah, you call him Charlie.
We're already friends. We're good.
He calls you a Waldo.
Waldo?
Waldo.
He calls me a Waldo.
Where in the world is
I'm
Waldo?
going to start calling him Bosley. And not for the hair club either. Oh,
Seriously,
but
folks.
bum.
Brad Gantos, he's here every Tuesday.
I love the intro.
So the show basically started talking about aging and baby boomers and stuff like that. And every guest we had for about, I don't know, 6 months until we got bored with it, you know, every guest that came in, we basically said, okay, poster child of baby boomers, Mr. Paul Roberts.
That's me.
Right? He basically was a hippie. Or he played at being a hippie. I think
I
he
wanna
was
be
like
hippie.
a wannabe hippie when he was going to law
he's a
school.
wannabe.
Then he basically became a yuppie.
That's right.
And we're trying to figure out what he is now that he is no longer a hippie or a yuppie. What's the next thing? And we would ask people every time they came in, well, what are you? What are you now? What do you consider yourself now? And people didn't really have an answer. And then some people said, well, I am who I am, Joe, whatever. Like, why do I need a label, right?
Right.
Which was kind of an interesting conversation in itself. And then Paul Roberts shows up one day and he goes,
I got it.
I got it. It was like a eureka. Like I said, did you find gold in the mountains of, Baldy or, like maybe San
I got
Margarita
a name for
where
my
you live?
generation.
And he goes, no, I found what the name for my generation is. And can you tell people what you said to me?
We started off as hippies, then we turned into yuppies. Now we're poopies, pissed off old people.
Now, if a baby boomer wannabe had said that, I would have gotten all kinds of crap,
We're
right?
poopies.
Right.
But he said it, so, it's legitimate. So why I'm going around on this is we need all the help we can get for Mr. Paul Roberts when it comes to connecting with new generation. Riz, my friend, is having charisma.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay, that's what the alphas basically
I
say.
like that.
I do
Okay.
like that.
Riz.
Yeah.
So you got to have Riz, Paul, and the first step to have Riz is to know how to friggin' use your cell phone. Okay,
Never going to happen.
I think that's the quietest I've ever heard. Out there.
Trying to figure it
so
out.
with age, we can.
But we have Riz in the room.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, it's funny that you brought that up because I was talking to a couple of my friends about this the other day, that now that we've reached a certain age point, most of our conversations are about our health and like wellness and what are you eating and what's the new
Absolutely,
thing and everything.
yeah.
So it is a very hot topic.
So I would say Riz on Wise. White.
Riz on
from-
white.
On rice.
Oh,
Wise.
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 Riz Wise.
Yeah.
Riz Wise. RizWise.com.
Yeah.
Grab it, everybody.
Yeah.
Grab it. RizWise.com.
That is,
No.
that is
That'll
a
be
thing.
that'll be the next
That could be
podcast
a
for
thing.
for Gen
For sure.
Alphas. Riz
Yeah.
Riz
Yeah,
Wise.
but that's where
Yeah.
we're at.
Riz Wise.
You know?
Gen Alpha
So,
podcast.
so can I ask a
we,
question?
we will produce it for you if you're interested. Come on down.
Can I ask a question?
You know,
Who's your guest?
Who's my guest?
Oh yeah.
The one full of Riz.
Let's,
She is full of Riz. There's a lot of Riz in this room right now.
let's get there. Yeah, let's get there.
Okay,
Because,
so who is our?
our name
guest
is
today?
Kristin Martin.
Yes, I know her name,
Okay.
but
sounds
I
so
have
good
not, I
with
don't
the
know I
accent.
don't know
Doesn't
anything
it?
else.
Yeah.
doesn't
No.
it sound so good
She-
with the accent? Say it
Oh,
again.
Kristin Martin.
See,
Christine
I
Martin.
feel
So
like
is
I
it
should
Martin
be so
or
astute.
Martin?
Oh, Kristin Martin. but
I like the
Come on.
Martin.
I
It's
don't
very
want-
French.
I don't want to bring too much of my culture.
The culture. You don't want to bring enough. He doesn't want to
just-
bring a lot of his
We
culture.
just finished the Olympics in Paris.
Oh,
It's all about the French
so,
right
it's
now.
all about the French culture right now. that's for sure.
I moved on to Snoop. I'm already
Oh, wasn't
I'm already
he
in
awesome?
the dog pound. Yes.
He was so fun to have.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
Okay, it's not part.
Okay.
It's not part of the.
This is not part of the show. We're not talking about Snoop Dogg. Snoop.
He had his time. No.
Hey, he's got a lot of risk too.
Yeah, yeah.
Snoop's
Yeah.
got a lot
So
of risk.
who is
He's
All right.
Kristin
representing.
Martin?
So Kristin, mostly what she does, she's a producer of events, and actually she has a production company
Big
called
events, yeah.
the KM
Productions.
Production,
Yeah.
and she's very involved in the community. And I will come back later on the details that she does, what she does. But she starts, as a teacher at
Yes.
school of 2 to 6 grades.
Yes.
Graders, and she moved up because now she control us as well.
Yes. A much bigger.
She's always-
much,
Well,
much,
a
yeah.
teacher once a teacher,
Yes.
Yeah.
always a teacher.
Once a teacher,
Exactly,
always a
yeah.
teacher.
I have
yes.
I have an aunt like that was a kindergarten
Yes.
teacher.
Yeah.
Now she just celebrated her 90th.
Yes.
We're still all kids in her class.
Yes.
It's so rewarding.
Can we drop a few names? Because I'm impressed. She does, was the Festival of Chefs.
Yeah,
Didn't
yes.
it just happen?
Let me get
Yes.
back to that.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, Paul.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just
Paul.
trying to give a little tease here.
I love that. That was a rocking event.
I know all these things.
Yes.
So, and she also.
And by the way, Christian, I was messing with you guys. I know. Because I Googled and I looked into you and I know off your
Oh,
stuff.
good.
And you and I have
Hopefully
been-
some good
and you-
photos
and you-
came
and you-
up,
And you,
you
and,
know.
you and I have been connected for a long time, actually, online.
Yeah.
I love
Through
that.
LinkedIn, yeah.
And so, of course, you have a master's degree of
I do.
administration,
Yes.
and I didn't know that. And
know.
now I
Now are you
understand
scared?
why.
I'm really
no,
smart.
I'm
I'm just kidding.
not. I'm not scared. You never scare me.
I'm just kidding.
But
Why is your knee shaking, Crystal?
that's because I'm.
It's his
I'm
culture.
because I'm with wise.
You're Riz Wise, yes. Yes.
Well,
So-
we go back decades. So
Oh, it's
Long
about
time.
40 years.
Yeah, long time.
And now she really was involved in my personal, professional life, and like she's involved with a lot of.
So how did you
other
guys?
chefs.
How did you guys? Because I want to go back in a minute about the school stuff, right? Because I want to establish sort of like what got you into that, and then why you made the transition.
I may have an answer. Correct me if I'm wrong.
yes.
Yeah.
Once she was teaching,
Yeah.
she was also became in the school in charge of producing events for the schools.
Well, here it's a little different. It's
Yeah.
You're on the right track, but I was a vice principal, so that is a different.
Yeah. So you
that's
were
a
responsible by
different
virtue
title.
of your
Yeah.
job
So
title,
you
yeah.
end up working with the teachers, training the teachers, and your impact influences the teachers, whereas your impact is much greater because
Yeah.
then you're affecting all of their classes.
Was this local, Christian?
It was. I
Yeah.
worked in 3 different school districts: Huntington Beach, Newport Beach, and Capo.
Okay.
And I loved it. And then it's a really easy transition. I had 3 kids, and I couldn't work. I would end up, paying a nanny to raise my kids, my salary.
Yeah.
And so I ended up stopping, and a friend of mine was doing events, and he needed some help. And he actually was getting ready to retire for personal reasons. And I ended up finding myself in that field, just helping.
How long ago was
helping
this?
him
Like what-
25 years ago.
25 years
And,
ago.
Just helping him.
What was it a choice that you end up actually becoming part of the food Orange County culinary community,
Yes.
chef and restaurant?
Yeah, it's a really easy story to tell. One of my first events in helping him was up in LA, and it was SOS, put on by Mary Sue Milliken, and she's the founder of Border Grill and a very prominent chef. And immediately I started working with chefs in doing that event. And so I loved, clearly I love eating. And so I thought it was fabulous.
You work for food?
I do, yes. And so I started just doing events that were really central focus to chefs in the culinary world. And I loved it, so I ended up staying in that lane. I mean, over my 25 years, I've done non-culinary events. I've
Right.
done big galas and big other events,
Right.
but I think that because I've been working for so many years with so many chefs, that I love that community, and so many of them are good friends of mine at this point, that it brings so much joy in putting on those events. And then also the fact that the transition occurred probably a decade ago, where nonprofits were moving from doing galas to creating different platforms of events just to give their base something other to
Different,
go to.
right.
And so my skill set really, was needed at that point. And I started being asked to create chef events to benefit various nonprofits. And so for me, I always tell people that it's I'm in such a win-win career for me personally, because I love coordinating and producing the events. But more importantly, I love creating a great event that the nonprofits can be proud about,
Yeah.
and where they can use the platform to raise a lot of money. So in that way, I sleep really well, because when the
No, you don't
charity,
sleep well.
I
because
sleep
you're
well
always
enough.
busy.
But I'm always my wheels are always spinning. But I'm very grateful that I'm in this position, and that I've been able to raise millions of dollars for
Well, there's a
nonprofits.
part-
Yeah.
So
Can you give us a
you know?
short list, because I know the list is long, of which charity you help?
oh my gosh, okay, well that's a long list, but I guess I can read off now. My most current ones are KidWorks, who are fantastic. Make a Wish, Unconditional Rescue, Chapman University, Saddleback College, their culinary arts school. And a little side note, Saddleback is opening up a gigantic facility center.
That you were involved
Yes,
with,
that's
right?
going to be cutting edge.
Right.
For,
We had Juliana here too.
yeah,
Juliana
for
Barnes,
all
who
the
cut-
students.
yeah.
And also, just to add to that, what's really been wonderful for me is I've been partnering with culinary schools and colleges, and they are giving me for all of my events up to 20 to 30 to 40 chef students, and I'm pairing them with the chefs that are participating.
That's wonderful.
So these students are now getting firsthand mentorship, but also the after effect with that is that a lot of the students have been offered jobs working for those chefs.
Yeah.
So I'm really
Well,
proud,
that's the whole idea.
really proud of that.
And
you know?
we give them back some the access to scholarship.
Yes, yes. And so, I mean, we could go, I mean, this show's not long enough to support the history that we've created. But what was really neat was that I created, that's the other thing, is that I got to the point where I wanted to create my own events and then go out and I find the nonprofits that I think would be a good
Benefit
fit
from your
and
event.
so it's a really unique model. But what I love about it is all the nonprofits that I'm passionate about, I get to support and help, and it's so rewarding. I really can't stress enough how rewarding it is. But so to go back, I created an event called Table for 10. I call it kind of my Diamond Jubilee event because it's black tie, it's very elegant, and the chefs just bring their A game. You know, they host a table, 5 to 6 course meal paired with wines, and the nonprofits sell the tables for quite a bit of money to raise money. And I was looking to find somewhere that would really fit that event, and I wanted to give back into the culinary community. And so here comes my friendship with Pascal, and he was working with Saddleback, and he decided to create a Chef Pascal culinary scholarship program where the money raised goes to help the culinary arts students. And it was just the best decision I ever made, and it was made 3 to 4, I think 5 years ago, quite a little bit. And we've been just going strong on that. And it's my only event that gives back to the culinary field where, because all the chefs are doing so much.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense to have that synergy. And it's just another excuse that I get to also work with him. So it's a win-win.
And we are bringing the culinary community in Orange County even to a higher level
Yes.
at the same time.
Yeah. And, on that same topic, I become very much entwined and a voice for all the nonprofits that I support. And so I'm a big advocate, and I really get very passionate about supporting and talking about all of them. So it's very rewarding.
I have to say, she has such a beautiful network and I see the teacher in her. We cannot say no to her.
Oh no, I know. If I do the stance like with my hands like this or my finger, I mean,
that's not a teacher.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
a
just
principal.
Yes,
Yes,
yes.
the principal.
Yes.
That's the
Oh,
principal at
Yes.
the end of the hall
Yeah.
asking you whether you have a pass or not.
That's a mother.
Oh yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah, it's
Yes,
really
Mom.
true though. It's really funny now because I've known so many chefs for decades now, and we're very much a family. And I know their wives, I know their kids, and they have supported me in so many ways that I'm always there for them. And
And I can test it.
Thank
Talk
you.
about
and so
that because
you know,
during my personal trouble, she put together like a meal train.
meal train.
And she
that went forever because we wanted to fatten him
yeah.
up. So it was like a 2-year meal train.
So now, so not only she helped the chef on the restaurant, but she go into their personal trouble, and by her doing this, chefs are doing that on their own. So we are really the community family feel that
It's
we are
really
together.
neat. I will say that I always say that it's kind of this side ripple that happens with all of these events where, I have chefs that call me and they say, hey, I'm looking for a new employment. I haven't left my job, but can you put your, feelers out, and I'll be making personal calls. And I've found, a lot of chefs' jobs. Pascal is also one of my dearest friends. So he would be a call that I would make, and I would say, hey, Pascal, do you have any friends that are hiring for chef positions? And we can do it so quietly for the chefs because we're in that lane where, of course, their current employer isn't going to know.
Right.
And we've been able to help a lot of chefs on the side, which I'm most proud about all that stuff.
Let me ask you
know?
guys a question, because I think part of also what you guys, your journeys and your experiences both, is also a matter of timing, which is usually the case, right?
Yeah.
It's like you happen to be in the right place, there's a shift happening, there's an interest growing, what have you, right? And we're talking about 25 years ago, there was your experience from 1985. I remember moving to South County in 87, where people thought I lived in the back the back 40 and with a mule and a plow. I mean, like, what were you doing that far south, right?
Right.
Yesterday, they're like, do we need a passport to get to San Clemente? I'm like, keep thinking of that. That's okay with me.
You
Yeah.
never know.
Right.
Yeah.
But the point is that there's got a lot to do with timing, right? And we're dealing
It does.
we're dealing with, I mean, you guys both, I think we're people. Right,
Yeah.
the engagement, the interaction with people in real life, not just electronically, is part of what you need. Part of the air that you
Right.
breathe, right?
Yeah.
So I think that makes for these things and being involved in these things a lot more a joy, a reward, multiple ways of being
Well, they
rewarded,
happen
right?
so organically.
Right.
Right. And I think so much of that is by way of personality. Like, I know that Chef Pascal and I, we share a high energy level. We're both very positive, and I think that our number one goal is to try to help other people but make the world a better place. And I think when you're coming at it from that transparency, that I think that people recognize that. And I know that I've been fortunate with that. I know that chefs have said to me time and time again, we love doing your events because you really look out for us, and you really try to help us, and you try to promote us. And I think that is one of the biggest compliments I get, because I want to make sure that it is beneficial for them. They have a good time at the event, and they understand the value of their commitment. And because of them, the charities are able to raise an unbelievable amount of money.
So here's my question, because part of this show is also that it's, I don't know if I want to call it courageous, but it's uncurated, and we basically tend to be a little bit authentic about the things. So my
Right.
question is this, because there's a part of this that's nostalgia. There's a part of this that's sort of like, the good old days and how
Right.
it was, and we happen to be a product of the good old days, and it's a small community in the culinary. It's a small community in Orange County. It's a smaller community in the nonprofits. I mean, we probably go to 3 events a month, and we'll run into the same people.
Yep.
People whose of servants' hearts tend to spread themselves in many ways in Orange County, right? Here's my question to you, because I think we have the ability to look at it from the perspective of 20 plus years, right?
Yeah.
How has it changed?
Oh my gosh.
Has it changed? Is it changed for the better? Is it changed where we've lost a little bit of connection somehow, where we need to pass that on consciously to an upcoming generation? And I'll just leave it. I'll end it with this. I found it fascinating, Christian, that, for example, there are people that do this. We started off talking about wellness and health and all this stuff being part of our lexicon when you get older.
Right.
Okay. Well, the thing about it is that there's this, for example, this book called 75 Hard, which is basically a regiment of discipline of wellness. And it's, health related, it's eating related, it's exercise related, all this stuff. And then once you pass that 75 days of doing that, which I jokingly said my wellness is 57 soft when I was 57 years old. I'm not 75 hard, I'm 57 soft, right? But that being said, it is a very popular thing for people who feel like they're running around so fast, they need the discipline, they need something that tells them, here's a guide, right?
Right.
But here's what I found fascinating. Once you got done with their 75 hard the first time around, you take a break, and now there's a level 2 that you get on, right?
Right.
Level 2 that you get on, or maybe it's level 3 that you get on, one of those things is you actually have to talk to a new person and engage with them in conversation every day. Okay? Now here's the thing. As much as out of the 5 or 6 things that you have to do in 75 Hard, one of them is you can't drink for 75 days. And people say, well, like, that's the hardest one for me, right? As much as that's a hard one,
Yeah.
they go pale white, some people, about engaging with a person they don't know on a daily basis.
Right.
And that's kind of a little bit of a reflection of the world we live in. We're in contact with a lot of people, but we're not really connected. You
Yes.
guys are connected at a level of friendship, right? I guess it's interesting because food, because it's around the table, because people break bread, because people have conversation around the table. It's not just about the food. It's about the engagement and right?
Right.
And the ripple effects of that conversation and engagement and the breaking of bread. How do you think things have changed, if they have?
Right. Are you talking about from a guest experience, people go donating? I mean, being
I'm talking just in
involved
general, and just like
charity
a
events?
reflection,
Yeah,
a
I think-
community
yeah.
reflection. Like
Okay.
I feel part of our responsibility, having experienced that sometimes,
Right.
is to actually realize that we have to take a conscious effort to impart that.
Yes, I understand what you're saying now. So I think that what I can say, given my experience with that, is that it definitely has changed in a sense. And I think a lot of it, I saw most of it changing during COVID, where people were afraid to go to in-person events. They were generous, but they were holding back because we didn't know what was happening.
But there was more communication.
Yes, yes. But I also feel like people came out of that with a new vigor and a new enthusiasm for the appreciation of getting together and going to events and being a part of something. Now, you also have to remember that I have found in my experience working with Orange County people that this community is so incredibly generous. I can't tell you. I do events with multiple nonprofits, and occasionally I'll see on the registration list, the same person that came to an event before. And I'm always just in awe of the amount of generosity in this community. That I can tell you that 100%.
Right.
Now, what I always have told people, and I've shared this with my own children, is that you can give back in so many different ways. It's not just the monetary.
Right.
Most people can't, buy a big table and be a big sponsor, but you can give back in so many other ways. You can donate your time and your energy. You can help on so many levels with these nonprofits, and I see a lot of people engaging in that. I can say that I'm very proud of that with my own children, because they are grown adults, but they worked really hard in school and they have great jobs. But what I love is that they give back. And so I'll just mention my oldest daughter, Ashley. She has been donating her time at Pacific Marine Mammal Institute for a couple of years. Every Friday, she wakes up at 6 o'clock in the morning and is there till noon. And I'm so proud that I've been able to instill that through what I do with my children. So to talk about the next generation.
Is that the one in San Pedro?
Yeah, no, the one off just in Laguna Beach.
Oh, Laguna Beach.
On Laguna Canyon. And what I love about seeing the generations is that at these events, we have a real range in generations. We've got people that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and they bring all a different level of contribution, right? And it doesn't matter if you can buy,
The fact that they're
right?
already there.
Exactly. And right. And what I love is that if I do my job well, and I make these events fun and exciting, and there's a fun band or there's dancing, I feel like we really...
And good food.
And great food, of course. But we really are seeing the second wave of the new generation wanting to get involved. But more importantly, I want them to be able to come to the event and not feel the pressure of having to spend a lot of money. Let's just come. You learn about the charity, and then what happens is you send them on their way, and they become more educated on what the charity's doing, and they in turn become a voice in the community. So I think that has definitely changed.
So my first question was, I didn't really set you up, but it was kind of like the first
Did I go
step.
off on a total tangent?
No,
which I'm
no.
famous for doing.
No,
just to let you
absolutely
know.
not. Absolutely not. And Paul will tell you, I will go around and link it back
I
together.
Also, after when
I
you're
know.
done, I have an answer that I think I need to say.
So
but-
the reason why I asked that is, no, you were right on, because I didn't want to be once again bringing up COVID, And between you and I, it's almost like, okay, well, let's not talk about COVID. But there was a stamp in time.
We
if you
learned
will.
from that.
Right. And I tend to believe that COVID didn't initiate anything new. All that COVID did is accelerate a lot of stuff.
Yes.
That we were already on a certain tangent or a certain path, and it just accelerated because all of a sudden we got everything else removed out of the way, right? And here we ended up there. But
I think it accelerated our appreciation for our life.
if you came out, if you came out of it
Right.
with that mindset,
like the simple things.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely, right?
That's a gift.
But
Right.
the demand is different.
Kind
It
of
was. We got a
was-
gift.
It was like a
Absolutely.
resetting.
There's a new demand.
Yeah.
That's because I've done so many events
Mm-hmm.
with Kristin.
Because he can't say no,
Before it
'cause
was
you know.
was events.
There is.
It was events, but now the production come because there's a request from the guests to have a show. Just from an event,
Yeah.
now she put a show together because people want to have something special.
Yes, something unique.
You
something
guys
special.
you guys are coming right into where I want you to come. Okay. And here's the question. The question is, how has what people want changed, not only in terms of the production type, but also maybe the production size? Because I know we all went through this, right? But I will tell you my personal experience. I went to a lot of conferences for hospitality, design, architecture, all this stuff. At this point, and I don't know if it's a combination of age, seasoning, coming out of that whole COVID thing, to your point, the reward of what is important, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest at all to go to a conference that has 200, 300 people.
Yeah.
I would go to a 15, 20, 25 people thing, shorter duration, more time that is not basically pitch and sell
Right.
for genuine connection.
Right.
And so, we throw the word networking and we throw the word events and all that stuff around. What I'm trying to get us to is actually a conversation about what is it that the human condition now wants from events.
I think that people, I know this for a fact. I can tell you actually from my own perspective.
Yeah.
With my husband and his career and his work, we were invited to events all the time. And it was really interesting for me to be an event producer, but then always to go to an event because it was really hard for
couldn't
me to
stop
not
working.
look at
Yeah,
it
exactly.
from a little bit of a critical eye
Yeah.
and just kind of think, oh, they should have done that differently. Oh, but it didn't matter because,
No, I'm sure you
I
said
was-
I can do
I
better.
was there-
Well, Pascal
Well,
probably
no,
does the
but-
same thing in restaurants.
Right, exactly.
And I do the same thing in
Right,
hotels. I
right.
walk in and I nitpick the whole
Right,
design
right.
before I can
Right.
actually put my head down.
But so for me,
Except I try to stay myself.
Right. Right.
Well,
so my
yeah.
mindset was really simple. And it was, I only want to do events that I would want to go to. And I'm tough. Let me tell you, I do not want to go sit for 3 hours and watch somebody speak
Okay.
to me. And I want to be entertained. I love music and I love good food and I love a party ambiance. And so for me, I always take my events and think, okay, would that be an event that I would actually want to go to? And that's how I go at it. And for me, I've been lucky because a lot of people agree that they like that type of an event environment.
So what's an event?
So
that,
I've had
what are the
success.
the top 3 criteria? Let's leave it at 3. 3 criteria for an event that you would want to go to.
Oh my gosh, great food, 100%. Good food, good wine.
Okay, what
good spirit
constitutes good
sponsors.
food versus acceptable food?
Well, you know what? That's a really good question because I have, I work with probably 70 to 80, probably
Right.
close to 100 chefs
Right.
that I know.
I will say good food
I-
is a menu that it doesn't offer a choice between salmon or chicken.
Yes, not the rubber chicken
Yeah.
dinner that we're all familiar with.
No, but I'm serious.
No,
Let's
yeah,
seriously,
yeah.
because we never talk about this stuff,
Well,
right?
so-
It's
so
like
I-
what it constitutes good
So
food.
I can answer that
Yeah.
because so many times I will have a chef
Yeah.
on my list of chefs,
Right.
and people will say, "Oh, I haven't heard of where they're from or whatever," and I will answer them very clearly. I don't pick the food based on the restaurant. That means nothing to me. You can be a great restaurant and have a terrible food. I completely follow the chefs, and I pick the top chefs, and they could be catering chefs, they could be small mama papa chefs,
Right.
they could be food truck chefs,
Right.
but the food has got to be fantastic. Right?
What constitutes fantastic food, Kristen, for you? Because
For me?
because I'll tell you, a restaurant that doesn't have quote
Okay.
unquote good food with a basic benchmark
Yes.
is not going to be around too long.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
And yet
Yeah.
there's a lot of restaurants that are around
Right.
because they have food that passes as
Right.
okay and good, or maybe beyond just good. But what I'm trying to get to, okay, is what constitutes exceptionally
Are you
good
okay if I
food.
say something
Because
about
it's very
that?
personal,
but
right?
know,
It's
I
a
was
very
just going to
personal.
say, it's
yeah.
extremely personal. I mean,
Right.
I have friends that are vegan, vegetarian,
Right.
and so, what I would be ordering,
why I'm
they
asking
would
you.
not be
Yeah.
ordering.
Right.
And so for me, because I'm so this is people always ask me this.
Yeah.
What is, the perk for what I do? The biggest perk is that when I go into restaurants, I am treated incredibly well. And it always is mind blowing to me that I'm treated, so well, like I'm some celebrity, which I'm so not. I'm just this mom that does these events. And I don't think of myself as, I'm not a food critic writer, I don't do anything, but I get treated so well. And
It does help to know the chef.
and I should weigh like 300 pounds. I kid you not. But, I get really spoiled when I go. And so I'm fortunate that I get to try many things when I go. And, I am an eater. I can put that out there. I have no food allergies, which is, I should be a lot thinner, but it's okay. It's just my career. But
it's just my career.
yeah, I
Yeah.
love eating, and
What a
I
shame.
exactly, I know. But so my taste might not match somebody else's taste, but I definitely can tell, when I'm eating something really special or unique, or it's created by a wonderful chef.
So you know what's fun?
I
You know what's
think-
funny? I asked you the question, and you know what you answered?
Did
to
I
me?
answer it okay?
No, you
I
answered.
don't even
you
know.
did. You answered it perfectly fine. What you answered to me is, what constitutes good food
Can I say
is the
something?
is the experience in the space of the people and the engagement.
Absolutely.
Right, and that's exactly what I was trying
Yeah.
to pull out of you is that
Yeah.
that food is food. Good food is good food. Bad
Yes.
food you can tell very quickly.
Yes.
All right, it's like people don't know what they want, but they'll tell you. Sometimes they don't even know what they don't want until they
Right.
show it to them. So if you give me bad food, I know that was
Yes.
not up to snuff.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
If you give me good food, I'll know that it's good.
Right.
Because I tasted well, whatever, spicy and very different, very
Well,
personal,
and
right?
You have to also realize that I have a huge responsibility with that, because these events I'm producing, and I'm bringing in 400 to 1,200 people. My events are
And
large.
trying to meet everybody's expectations.
Well, also, I can't have people walking out of there being sick
Right.
and eating something
Right,
that's
right,
not
right,
good.
right.
So, I think that's also the teacher in me and the mama bear in me, that all the guests, they matter, and I want them to have a great food experience, a great experience in general.
Right.
And I definitely think that's probably where my teaching comes in, because I was first teaching, running a classroom, and then I was helping to run a school. So that's a lot of moving parts, and just taking care of each person kind of in their needs and their wants. So it's a responsibility that I take very seriously. And I think when guests, I get a lot of feedback after my events, and I get a lot of really positive feedback, and I attribute that to the chefs that are contributing, because they are the best chefs in Orange County, 100%.
And I have to say,
What constitutes good food for you?
French.
or if you go,
Well, yeah.
you eat something, you want to get it again when you come back.
yeah,
that's
you
good
crave
food.
it. That's a
Yes.
good answer.
And the good thing about what Kristin does, she also have all our culinary events have different concepts, but still the chef have the whole freedom to be creative,
Yes.
and they become creative.
Yes.
And they're not going to give you the same food year after year.
Yeah.
It's always,
Yeah.
a lot of creativity. So it's culinary art. really.
It truly is. And I will say too that the chefs really bring their A game. I mean, the stuff that they make, it blows me blows me away every year. But to that point, I have been asked by nonprofits where they have said to me, "Oh, we want less meat. We want, more whatever." And I will immediately say, "Okay, I love working with you guys, but I have to tell you my answer is absolutely no. I'm not telling chefs what they're going to make."
Right.
And I love to give them they need their creative freedom. And with that, they always just deliver something wonderful. And you want them to want to be there and have
Absolutely.
fun
But
creating.
it's not even a competition.
Right. No.
Wow.
And so, and the great thing is that because in our community especially, I think that people are very health conscious, and there are a lot more people that are vegan and vegetarian. My daughter is. And so I think that the chefs are naturally very conscientious with that. And I find with my events, when they do a 2 to 3 bite, when they create 2 or 3 bites, one of them is always vegan or vegetarian, because they know that they need to be able to create something for all the guests that are coming. And so the chefs are already have that mindset.
I think in a world that we live in where functionality and timeliness and deliver on timelines and all this stuff, we sometimes forget the true value of creativity. And I think in the case
the
of
art.
this situation, creativity for some people, I mean, I remember one time being in a classroom, somebody says, how do you be creative?
Yeah.
And I said, you might as well ask me how I breathe, right? And I think if you take that and you look at people that are in their DNA that way wired,
Yeah.
part of their way of giving is through their creativity.
Yeah.
Whether it's how you engage with somebody, whether it's how they prep the
Right.
food.
Sharing yourself.
Yeah, it's
Right.
it's exactly. It's like sharing for yourself. I mean, I love jazz, but one of my most favorite instruments is the saxophone, because I can't think of any other instrument that is the closest connection, other than I would be like anything that would be like a brass instrument or something like that. I just happen to be like an alto sax, but where your breath is literally a connection of what the output of that is.
Yes.
It's coming directly
Yeah.
from your breathing,
Yeah.
from your soul, right?
Create.
And I think creativity, in a way, is an extension of people's souls. So to bring in, whether it's a chef, or whether it's a
Right.
designer, or whatever it is, or these people that are students that you're saying you're teaming up, and to give them the freedom to express and give of themselves,
Right.
is what makes for that event to be something that I want to go experience.
And they look forward to that.
Right.
I can't tell how many times the chefs have said to me, "I'm so excited to create something that's not on my menu."
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go outside my parameters of my restaurant or the hotel, and I'm going to create something fun and something different. And I love that, and they come with a little bit a joyous heart, in a sense.
So,
know?
which then projects to their food,
Absolutely.
which then projects to the people that are guests.
And then they
Well,
raise money
because
for the
they're-
nonprofits.
Exactly.
It's a win-win.
because
Yeah.
they're creating a moment.
Yeah.
for the
Right.
guests.
The experience.
Very special. And so a technical thing that I think we need to bring up. Have you ever put together how much money you've been raising for all these events?
You know what? Somebody asked me that the other day. I did come up with a total like 10 years ago, and it was close to like $8 million. It was
Oh,
quite
you're
a
way
bit.
above that
I
now.
am, and I haven't, and I feel like I'm just always working on events that I need to sit back, and I probably need to
This
come up
is
with
why
that number.
she's really a big part
And
of the
but
community.
example was example KidWorks. That was my last event I just did at Festival of, it was called Festival of Chefs at Newport Beach Country Club, and they they did 1.1 million, which was record breaking for them. And it was I can't tell you how
It's a great
joyful
organization,
how
by the way.
joyful that was for me to know that I created the platform that enabled them to do that. And I just it's really rewarding. It makes me so happy. I can't tell you, because in a way, I'm impacting the kids and the children and the missions that all these nonprofits are doing.
Okay,
And it's
we're
great.
about to have to wrap up.
We still have
Oh
to-
no!
we still
have
Andy,
10
we
I
got-
could
we
go
got
for
10
like
minutes till
4
1 o'clock.
hours.
It's like they're giving me a
When's
award.
dinner? I know.
No. We got 10 minutes up till
I'm
1.
just kidding.
But you have a question. I had a question. Go ahead.
Actually, I have two questions.
2 questions. Yeah.
First, we need to talk about your next event.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, very
Yes.
important. And also, what you think that you want the charity you have done, and what you're the most proud of?
Oh, I don't know if I
You're
can
gonna
answer
you're gonna get her
that.
in trouble.
No, it's not even about that. I think it goes back to why I became a teacher,
Yeah.
which it was to just make an impact, a positive impact. Clearly it wasn't for the salary.
Yeah.
And I think that that's always been my mode of operation. And so, working with Make-A-Wish, right? I mean,
No,
we're
actually,
you know,
I
and
need to rephrase. I don't want to.
yeah, I mean, and
So,
then, but yeah.
I want to take the opportunity that you're here to publicly for our audience, and I think I represent all the chefs, all the restaurants. I want to take this opportunity to thank you because
So,
it's,
now you're just seriously make me cry. I told you not to make me cry.
what you're doing
It's the French in
is
him.
so
I
important.
know it's not good.
So important.
I was doing this downstairs because we were talking about his
But
medical
what have you have
recovery,
done?
and I'm just like,
And you
"Ah!"
keep it going.
Thank you.
It's so huge for us.
I didn't intend to have it be such a monster that it's become. I mean, it truly is a monster, but I love the ride, and I'm a workaholic anyway, so I'm not really one to sit on the couch, and so this gives me an avenue for all my energy.
And you like to talk.
And I love to talk, which was I knew I was worried coming on here. I was like, don't talk too much. But I'm just passionate. I've always been a very passionate person, and I've always thrown myself into things that I love doing.
So what do you feel your
You know?
purpose is, Christian? Like, what if you had to narrow it down to one sentence? Like,
My
what
one-
keeps you going?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, I'm a mom.
Yeah.
So my children are my priority 100%. I'm very fortunate that I have a loving husband that supports me. He is my rock. He is the polar opposite of me in personality, if you ever saw him. And he puts up with me because I'm a lot. And
But your kids are already there too.
and my kid, I think just seeing my children be so successful and great people, and that's what I mean by successful. It's so rewarding to be able to create 3 beings and then to have them grow and have them launch. And I think that is the most rewarding thing for me, absolutely hands down. Now, my work is right there on the list. And I think being able to raise as much money as I've raised over the years and be able to make an impact with these nonprofits by giving them a great platform
So
that
we
they
should
can
not
sell.
just thank you. We should
I
thank
can't.
the entire family.
It is a
Well,
family
it-
thing.
it-
I will
it- yeah, you-
say
yeah,
it does
you
take a
should-
village.
It does. Yeah.
But thank you, Pascal. I don't ever really want to be in the front, of everything. I'm more of, I like to
Yes,
be
you
behind
are.
the scenes. Well, I prefer to be behind the scenes, kind of the worker bee, and then let everybody else rise.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times the nonprofits have said, you need to go on stage and talk. And I'm like, no,
You know
this
what?
is not my moment. This is
I
for
will
you.
bring you on
I
stage
don't
at the
want to go
next
on
event.
stage.
Yes,
I
you
do
will.
not want to go on stage. What
You
am I
will.
going to say?
Well,
Well,
we
this
will.
What am I
is
gonna
what we're
say?
this is what we're doing today.
Yeah.
exactly.
This is
Yeah.
what we're doing
That's
today.
why she
Right.
cried,
Yeah.
because she
Do
never
you remember what was
I
the
get so
Do you
passionate.
remember what was the first event that you were involved in, either as a participant or a planner or whatever, that just sticks in your mind as kind of like a turning point or something that just is in your head, like highlights? Is there something?
You know what? I'll go back to my first couple events.
Okay.
Because, that was new for me, right? I didn't get a degree in doing, there is no degree for events. And I was, I always tell people that I was like a chicken with my head cut off running around, but I had my smile, which was this. And behind the smile,
Was everything else?
it was, holy shit, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, I probably can't say that on camera, sorry.
You're
But
good. You're
anyway,
totally
did you
fine.
bleep it? Okay, good.
Bloopers.
But I literally was like, with a smile,
Yeah.
acting like I knew what I was doing when I had, I had audio visual people coming to me. I had sponsors coming to me. I had celebrities. I had press. I had staging, lighting, generators, guests. And, this was all very new. And I just try to keep it together.
Yeah, but those are moments of truth, isn't it, Kristin?
It was
Like,
totally, but I
yeah,
have to tell you, so
yeah.
my husband, I made him come up with me, and people thought
Yeah.
that he was like my assistant because he was, just running around with me. And, but I did a couple of those events and I went home.
Yeah.
And I told Chris, I'm never doing that again. Are you kidding me? That was just.
When you are
Does it remind you of that on
Yeah,
occasion?
it reminds me of that conversation where it's like a huge circus, and you've got all these parts, and then it comes together one time. But it was I think what I really remember this conversation the most with my husband, because he literally said to me, and we were at dinner, and I had a glass of wine. He was having whatever, and he said, I think you really liked it. And he said, I think it really suits your personality. And he said, I really think that this should be your next thing. And I think with having him be such a cheerleader at the moment for me, he instilled that confidence.
When you were not sure.
When I was just, oh my gosh, I'm not sure if I can do this. I mean, I have a lot of energy, but that was a lot. And
when we have an event with you,
yeah.
and I'm not the only one, the question that come all night long, say, have you seen Kristin? Where's Kristin?
Yeah.
Because she's all over the place.
Yeah, I am. I'm behind. In fact, it's really entertaining now because, and you're going to laugh at this, at the last event, I'm wired with my team. So I have, at this point, I have a team of 28 vendors, and I have a team of 20 staff that come and do all my events. So we have it down, right? We really have it down now. But I have to be able to move around and not get stopped by 500-600 people.
Yeah.
And so what we've started doing is I'll be I'll have my earphone, I'll be wired to everybody, but I'll create like a perimeter path behind
Everything.
the event, behind everything. So here I am with my running shoes, like jogging to registration, and then jogging
You're like the secret
back
tunnels under Disney.
Right, exactly. Running back to the AV, running back to my Master of Ceremonies, running back to the auction crew, and registration and just everything. And it's I always joke that would be a reality show in itself, because
Totally.
the behind the scenes
Where is
stuff is
Kristin?
crazy. Yeah, it's like a Where's
What do you
Waldo.
do What do you do
Yeah.
to recharge after these events?
Where do I
never-
go to reclapse? you
Well,
mean?
because I think
Need to be
No, that's not-
Yeah, no, I
No,
do. I
you-
can,
no, they're-
I
yeah,
can
absolutely.
completely answer that.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm super transparent with what I do. It takes me about 3 or 4 days
Yeah.
to physically recover. I'm exhausted. I usually lose my voice, my feet. I can't even walk. And then it's literally historically, like after the 4th day, then I'm ready to go. And I'm on to the next one.
The reason I am asking, Christian, because again, one of the things we're kind of looping back around
You
on
mean
the
what's
health
my
thing.
happy? What do I do?
What
for
do
my
you do?
happy
Yeah,
spot?
because
Okay.
people that are extroverted, people that
Yeah.
are in that position, I get it. We all need that downtime as well.
Yeah.
And we have our own ways of getting ourselves back to that. So
Right.
what do you do?
I have a couple of things that I do. First of all, I'm very fortunate. I have a very great group of friends. I have a really tight group of girlfriends, and they provide so much support for me. But I love to garden. I love to be out in my backyard, and I'm very fortunate. My family has a place in Lake Arrowhead. It was my grandparents. And so I have memories of a little girl there, and I will drive up there.
It's a
and
happy
I'll,
place
I'll
for
take
you.
like a day off, and I'll just be up there. And it's nice for me. I try to get away, where I'm up in 5,000 feet, where there's deer, and it's just peaceful. And
Now I know why you don't.
I love going. Yeah,
you don't
when,
answer my
when I
call.
don't answer your calls, I'm up in your head. And I definitely, at this stage of my life, I am comfortable with being transparent about being good with myself and
Yeah,
taking
yeah,
care of my own
absolutely.
mental health and my physical health as well. And I'm very careful with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because
Yeah.
that's sort of why I'm asking the question. Sometimes I think we talk about the successes and the highlights and the 8x10 photos and the highlight
Yeah.
reels, and we don't
Yeah.
talk about this other stuff. And yes, I mean, protecting your peace, happy place, doing these things.
It's really important.
It's
to
important.
recharge.
That self-care
Yeah.
is super important.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't see that.
Right.
and people don't know.
Well, because you don't talk about it, and when
Right.
you do see people,
But why-
you're going 150 miles an hour.
Right. But I mean, it's as important, I think, as basically the logistics and the teams and building that perimeter around. Is that
Absolutely.
you also know that you need this.
Yeah.
And it's okay to have that
Yeah.
because just because you're gardening or just because you're taking that day off and not answering Pascal's call while you're
Right.
up in the cabin. I mean,
Right.
I have a cabin in Big Bear. I totally get it.
Right.
I garden in the backyard. I totally
Right.
get it. So there's some people will call me and I'll say, look, some days I'm not answering you until 12 o'clock
Right.
because that's important for me when I'm doing all this other stuff.
I also have pets. And I always, I have.
A lot of outward there.
So to segue in, to answer your question, my next event is Chef Masters. It's at on September 22nd at Festival of the Arts, Pageant of the Masters, and it benefits Unconditional Rescue. And this is a charity very dear to my heart because I am the proud owner of. What do I have now? 5 rescues? 5 rescues. And I didn't intend on having 5. I will tell you, I got one and she got pregnant. And I mean, she was pregnant when I got her.
Okay.
And then I realized I was having puppies, and then the rest is,
History.
the rest is the rest.
Yeah.
And, but there's such a need for this community to have a voice. And as we all know, the shelters are packed and we need more people to rescue. And I always tell people, look, I said, I work pretty hard. And if I can manage 4 or 5 rescues, come on, But I would never put that kind of pressure on anyone. But
And it's a great place they're
it's-
creating.
yes.
And because it's not only a rescue,
Well,
it's going to be a clinic
Yes.
as well.
Yeah, and I will tell you, if someone could see a snapshot of me watching the Olympics at night, okay, it's just an example. I'm on my couch, my kids are with me, and I'm surrounded by 4
4 or 5,
puppies
yeah.
that are all over my lap. And I'm looking at these puppies, or these dogs, and I have 3 puppies.
Just a moment.
And they, animals and pets give you so much joy. And it's very important that it's unconditional. And I think it's very important. And I want to share this with you because it's something really important. It is something to remember, is that my great-grandmother and my grandmother lived in their mid-90s. They lived a long time. And when my grandmother was very ill, we asked her, how did you do this? Like, how did you get through life, right? Mm-hmm. And she was quick to answer. She said 3 things. And she said, always have something to love, always have something to take care of, and always have something to look forward to. Think about that.
Well, I think you've made a career of that,
And
haven't you?
I have. But the funny thing that I have to add is that she was, medicated and dying, but close to death. And then she added, always eat bacon and real butter. And that was like her ad.
You know what? I don't think it had anything to do with her
and
medication.
I'm like, okay,
That's good advice.
let's go. I mean, she was Oklahoma,
Yeah.
and
So how do
a
people
redhead.
reach you? We're wrapping up here. If they want to find out more about this
Oh.
event
The
and
next
you
event.
and your
yes.
company,
Yeah.
So yes.
But I want the audience to come and say, oh,
Yeah.
we heard that on the
So
on the
yeah, so you
show."
could definitely reach me. I have a lot of event websites. So my next one is Chef Masters, and they can reach me there. I'm not going to give out personal,
Orange
right?
County Chef.
No.
Yeah,
But I mean,
yeah.
this.
They could email me
Okay.
at martin600@cox.net. I get hundreds of emails every day, and I pride myself on trying to answer them all within 24 hours.
And
I
the
try
next
really
event
hard.
is
And
where?
you have a website for your events company.
Yeah.
I
right?
do.
Yeah.
I do. It's kmproductions.net.
And the next event is when?
It's Sunday, September 22nd in Laguna Beach at the beautiful Pageant of the Masters. We
Okay.
have I have over 70 chefs, wineries,
Wow.
and spirit sponsors. It's packed, and we have dinner. This incredible meal, and then the charity will give their presentation, and then we will end the night with rocking out to Flashback Heart Attack, the '80s band.
Christian,
who-
give the
so
website
great.
again for the event.
Chefmasters.org. Yeah.
.org. Okay.
Yeah.
.org.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming in. Look
Yeah.
forward to more events. Hope we can
Thank you
share
for
them with our
having
community
me.
here.
Thank you for having me.
It was really a lot of
I
fun.
love being here. I love the studio. Like I said, we need to add a disco ball. I mean, you guys have it.
Could you?
Really?
So if anybody's got a disco ball in their garage
Yeah.
or their attic
Yeah,
or their
this is-
We're
private
gonna
storage,
Turn off the light and put
Yeah.
the ball on.
I
Yeah.
love being here, and I would love to come back. So thank you for having me.
it was a pleasure.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
See if we can get the music. There we go.